Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. It's true. We're back with an all-new episode of The Payoff. You can't see me, John Cena. The Three Eyes, Kurt Angle. Number one contenders match for a world championship opportunity at WrestleMania 21. I'm pumped to cover this one, man. How did you put it on our list?
Yep. Yeah, damn true. So yeah, this one again with the return of John Cena this year. I feel like once a month we always send like a Kurt Angle tweet or something or Instagram video to each other just because he's always doing something funny. And so why not cover this one? A show that we haven't done, obviously from your kind of former hometown there. And so I don't know. Did you go to this one?
I didn't. It's funny. I was looking at the card and I'm like, was I there? I was not at this one.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So we got that. Why not? Cena Angle, it's exciting watching the Cena retirement tour. And that's where we're back at. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one. And I can't believe this is 20 years ago.
I know.
That makes me sad.
Yeah. We're unfortunately we're going to see more of our favorite wrestlers passing away. We're going to see more of them. It's just weird to think like some of these matches were 20 years ago. It's weird as the math is. We're getting closer to 2050 than we are 2000. Like it's just wild to think about. Yep.
Well, I'm pumped to cover this one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good one, man. So let's get right into the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
So you asked me if I was there because it was in Pittsburgh. I'm forgetting how long ago this was. I would have been in college, so I wouldn't have been too far away from this, but did not go to it. February 20th, 2005, 20 years ago. Good buy rate of 240,000. We're at the Mellon Arena, which is the old Pittsburgh Penguins Arena. It's since been demolished. And let's go through the card, man. So, dark match of Charlie Haas and Hardcore Holly defeating Kenzo Suzuki and Rene Dupree. We start off the show with Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio defeating the Basham Brothers to win the tag team championships in 15 minutes. Booker T's going to defeat Heidenreich by DQ. Chavo Guerrero is going to defeat Funaki, Akayo, Paul London, Shannon Moore, and Spike Dudley to win a Cruiserweight Open match and get the Cruiserweight Championship. Undertaker is going to defeat Luther Reigns in 11 minutes. The match we're covering is next. Then Joy Giovanni is going to defeat Michelle McCool, Rochelle Lowen, and Lauren Jones in a 2005 SmackDown Rookie Diva of the Year contest.
Sure.
In our main event, JBL retains the WWE Championship against the Big Show in a barbed wire steel cage match.
Sure. Who doesn't love that?
Okay. So that's it, man. That's our show.
Yeah.
How did we get to these two facing off for a number one contenders match?
Yeah, so like you said, there was that Cruiserweight Open happening. None of other than this match, nothing was really over 3 stars. There were some negative stars on this one. There was some a lot of quarter stars, just not a great one overall. Like this probably wouldn't like I could understand why you wouldn't have gone to this show because on paper, not a great show. Other than, maybe the tag match and Undertaker versus Luther Reigns, there's not really a whole lot to get excited about there, and unless you're a big JBL and Big Show fan, like why are you doing this one? So but we had a pretty straightforward kind of path to how this one happened, though. Like I said, this was a number one contender match. It was the tournament, the John Cena and Kurt Angle, kind of the culmination of that, in which you had, it was first announced by Teddy Long, February 3rd episode of SmackDown. He had booked the first round matches. And so, like we said, they would get that main event spot challenging for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21. First match, you had Undertaker versus Rene Dupree. That was a double count out due to Luther Reigns preventing Undertaker. So that's how you ended up with that match on this card, which sure, whatever. He actually did it at the request of Angle, who was scheduled to face the winner of that match if Angle won his. So the double count out meant that neither man advanced in the tournament, which, Undertaker, Rene Dupree. So since they didn't advance, that gave Kurt Angle a bye into the semifinals to the winner of whoever won that class. So kind of really smart kind of heel bullshit there. Like, I appreciate that. And so next, then you had Eddie Guerrero against Booker T. Booker T won that one by pinfall. The following week, you had Cena and Orlando Jones. Can you believe it? Cena went over Orlando Jones. Good job. Next, you had Angle against Rey Mysterio. That's where he finally got to wrestle that match. But Angle won. He actually forced the ankle lock on Mysterio, so won that one. And so it was interesting. So due to that win and then the double count out the week before, he then had a real easy path to the finals on that one. So and then next you had Cena. His semifinal match was against Booker T. He won after the FU on that one. So you get after this tournament, you get Cena and Angle, and that will give us our number one contender for WrestleMania 21. So, and that was, of course, WrestleMania goes Hollywood, and so you get that match as well there. So which kind of played out a little differently when we finally got there, but that's okay. We'll talk about that in a few. So that's where we got.
Hey man, I'm pumped. This will be a good one. 1 hour 44-minute mark of No Way Out 2005, season 7, episode 1 on Peacock. I'm ready when you are. You ready for this one?
Yeah, I got it pulled up. Let's do this.
All right, it's time for the payoff.
Ho! It's time for the payoff.
In the WWE, John Cena, the United States champion, won his first United States championship at WrestleMania 20. Tonight, the winner of this match advances to Hollywood, WrestleMania 21, for a shot at the WWE title.
All right. Man, I know we've covered this before, but it was so disappointing. Just everything about Kurt Angle's final WWE run. And, it's been said before, but, Kurt Angle said, look, I was ready to wrestle and I didn't wrestle for 9 months. So by the time I did wrestle, I had arthritis and my knees were crooked and I didn't do well in the ring, which was true. I mean, he was not good in the ring. So kind of blamed Vince of saying, look, I wanted to come in and wrestle, not be the Raw GM. So that was disappointing. And again, Vince and sometimes it helped, sometimes it hurt, but when he got shit in his head, it seemed like that was the end of it. So he had Kurt Angle pinned as a GM, and that's what we got. So the final matches of Kurt's career were not great. And then, he wanted to go out with Cena, and instead it was Baron Corbin who won the King of the Ring and then kind of did nothing and became a comedy character, was on the company. So it was just disappointing how Angle's final run went. And, Angle has said, look, it was punishment for me leaving the company the way I did earlier in my career. It was Vince's way of getting back at me. And I hope that's not the case, but it may have been. So just disappointing now,
Yeah.
because it would have been fun to, see Angle in better condition and maybe have some better matches, and then ultimately, a better send off. Him losing to Cena would have been way better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really is like, you know, it's hard to not like these two guys going at it. Like it is unfortunate what we know now about Kurt and how hurt he was and the pain he worked through, and like the fact that he's still alive, I think is a small miracle. And so, but I think gotten better since, which is kind of crazy.
Well,
But
it's not a small miracle he's alive. It's a big miracle. I mean,
that's fair.
look, painkillers, DUIs, the whole deal. I mean, he said at one point the night his sister passed away, he had 60 painkillers and went to bed. Didn't wake up till 4 o'clock the next day.
Yeah, I know you and I have watched those kind of those documentaries now where he just buy like a bottle, like a literal bottle of pills, and just by the handfuls or whatever it was, and that was his dose. Like he didn't know how many he was taking at some point, and so yeah, just absolutely crazy. But off to a fast start here, both guys. Cena looks great, Angle looks great. Yep. Yeah.
If he never leaves, I think he's viewed differently. I mean, you look at his body of work in a few years. I mean, just those incredible matches with Shawn Michaels, great feud with Lesnar, great matches with Benoit, really good feud with Undertaker, good match, great match with Steve Austin, great match with Eddie Guerrero, the Cena matches, Mysterio. I mean, his body of work. And again, we're talking about like I don't know, 4 or 5 year period. Imagine if you got another 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what would have happened if, you would have had him 2006, 8, 10, 12, all those years he was in TNA. I mean, it really would have been something.
Yeah, it really. So we're kind of pounding on each other outside of the ring. Yeah, like and knowing too, like, I mean, he was hurt worse in TNA, and he had some of his best matches in TNA, like, which is crazy to say. And so, yeah, just wild to think about. All those kind of what ifs. Yeah, it's just crazy. Yep.
Did you have a chance to listen to any of the Something to Wrestles where JBL was filling in for Bruce Pritchard?
I not none of those. No, I have not.
Give them a listen. They were excellent.
Okay.
I I really enjoyed them more than I thought I would. I thought they were just excellent. Some really really good stories. Just a really good perspective. The tribute to the troops episode was just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But they were really good. So I enjoyed that. I know he did an episode talking about John Cena that was really good as well. So yeah, I highly recommend that.
I will definitely check them out. So, so as we're recording, we don't know everybody that Cena's going to take on. We don't know the path that they're going to go with this, but who do you want to see him take on?
So here's the thing. I've been seeing a lot of like, oh, John Cena needs to run it back with Randy Orton and run it back with CM Punk.
Mm-hmm. Man,
I'm the opposite. It's like, give me what we haven't seen. Give me Gunther. Give me Logan Paul. I want that. I saw John Cena in KO, and it was awesome. But and I'm not saying go back to nothing, but like to me, it's like it should be all fresh matches. You got Logan Paul, you got Cody Rhodes, you got Gunther. I mean, those are easy ones. And then you say, do you do a Braun Breaker? Well, that could be fun.
I think it's a balancing act. I think, do I want to see him run it back with KO? Yeah. Like, do him and AJ had one of the best SummerSlam matches ever? Do I want to see that? Yeah, sure. But also, like you said, I think Cena is the type of, I definitely think Cena's going to go out on his back. The question is to who? I have no idea. It's going to be emotional as hell. It's going to be awesome. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of, younger guys that, that whoever he picks to put over, like, it's going to be wild. Like, is it going to be like an LA Knight? Is he going to do the job for him? Is it going to be Braun Breaker, like you said, or does it make more sense to have somebody that we know a little bit of the story with? And so do I think, I don't think we're going to have a situation like, oh, Undertaker ending the streak against Brock. Like, it doesn't help Brock. I think whoever Cena goes out, it's going to help whoever he goes out to or on or whatever. Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the cool things is that everything will feel big.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I mean, if it again, even if you go back to KO, AJ, Orton, it'll be really big. Okay. Yep. KO and Cena tying in their history with this current KO heel run, it's money.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, Print Cody is money. Gunther is money. Logan Paul is money. AJ coming out and saying,
Punk. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Punk Cena. I mean, Punk Cena. Where do you want it to main event? You can fill a stadium. You fill stadiums with Punk Cena.
Right, and running that one.
I mean, could you go back to Roman? Sure. Not saying you should, but there's so much there. It's just unbelievable. It's interesting because it's always been a star-driven business. But it's like, to me, it's easier said than done. If you have enough superstars, it's really hard to screw this up.
Yeah.
Meaning, okay, we're booking WWE this year, and we've got, stadiums to fill, monthly PLEs. But when you have that cast of characters to pull from, it's kind of hard to screw it up.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can, but again, if you have enough talent, you're kind of bulletproof. At the same time, if you don't have established stars, and I think we're seeing this with AEW right now, it's really tough. Creating stars is really, really hard. And even when you create one, I mean, not to pick on MJF, but I mean, and maybe you follow this closer than I do. I mean, the bloom's off the rose on that one, right? I mean, he feels like he's lost all his mystique.
I think I was kind of looking up, like, even look at like some of these, you talk about creating a star. And I think especially now, like, NXT gets us like a little bit of an insight to, some of these wrestlers, but then also you get some, who was it? I saw Alexa Bliss posted a photo of like her from when she, like, look at a lot of these wrestlers when they debut to what we know them as now, like, they have had to evolve and stuff like that. So even like, or maybe they're just booed nonstop. Like, they just don't get they just can't get over for whatever reason. Like, maybe you get a situation like, I think the easiest one to point to right now is like, how much did WWE read between the lines and know what they were doing when it came to Ricochet? Like, they never handed him a microphone, and I do buy into I'm gonna, like, did they know that, like, he struggled to cut a promo to the point where they're literally throwing toilet paper at the guy? Like, and then, like, that has to hurt. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I get it. Like, you're a heel and you want to play that up, but man, that's got to feel like shit to know, like, hey, I'm here. I finally feel like I'm doing something I want to do. And then the fans are literally throwing toilet paper at you because they hate you so much. Like, and not because you're a good heel, but because they're not a big fan of what you're doing.
Well, and think about this too. So when WWE thinks you can't talk,
yep,
that's really bad. And I say that because they have a team of writers. So they're not saying, hey, Ricochet, go out and cut a 10-minute promo off the top of your head on Braun Breaker. What they're saying is we've developed this really good script that builds towards a match with you and Braun Breaker. It's 6 minutes long, and we need you to go cut it. If you can't do that, or they believe you can't do that, you're in real trouble.
Yep.
Because they're not asking you to come up with the material. They're just asking you to deliver it. And so what it says to me is we think your personality is so bad on camera that even given the script, you can't deliver it. That's the conclusion they came to. I have not seen anything in AEW that says otherwise. And some of it's out of your control. The tone of your voice, your dialect. Like, I'm not saying everyone can go on screen in front of 20,000 people and give 7 minutes of compelling promo with the right mannerisms and the right voice. It's very difficult to do. But the
Every
point
week
is,
you
can do all the backflips, all the in-ring stuff in the world, but if you can't talk for 6 minutes, there's a ceiling.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you don't have a place on the roster. It doesn't mean that you can't be a professional wrestler. It means we're probably not going to make you a champion that's regularly on PLEs, that has to regularly cut promos. So then people go, well, Ricochet is incredible in the ring. Why does he have a ceiling? This is why he has a ceiling. You have to ask yourself that. And look, I get it. There are people that should be pushed that aren't. There are people like Steve Austin that don't get a chance in WCW and do somewhere else. Okay? Mistakes are made. But oftentimes when guys aren't pushed, there is a reason. And the reason is, we see him backstage. He's incredibly boring. He gets nervous before promos. He can't memorize his lines. We can't trust him on live television. Or the guy's an asshole and he's battling us on storylines and nothing's good enough for him. We just don't want to deal with it. Mercedes Moné. Why do you think she's not in WWE right now? You know what the reason is, Jeff? It's not because she can't wrestle. It's not because they couldn't afford her. It's because she's a pain in the ass. And why do you need that on your roster? You don't.
Yeah, well, and working the schedule, good example. Like, she left and Naomi came back because remember they left at the same time, and Naomi's having a pretty good run right now. Like, she's out there, it looks like she's having fun. Like, so you do got to they talk, they do. Like, you see Instagram posts where some of them are together too. And so was that a dub there? The angle kick out.
Now John Cena.
Angle
And
kick
you don't
out.
see John Cena go to the top rope often.
He's doing it now.
But John Cena's here.
Watch
Cena's going to fly. A leg drop to the back of the neck.
I was always a big fan of Taz on commentary.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
I like the wrestler perspective.
Yeah. But anyway, so as I was saying, I feel like, she, I'll never go back and all this other stuff. But look how long, at this point, you get Charlotte and Becky took the time off that they needed to, and they're going to come back stronger. Look at, the schedule. I agree. I'm right there with them. Under Vince, it was probably terrible. She probably did hate it, and enough was enough.
How the hell did Angle kick out of that?
Kurt Angle.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Vince was terrible thing just gets old to me. If he was so terrible, then why'd you work for him? No one has a problem collecting a paycheck off the guy. If you were so aware of all the bad things he was doing, then you should have said something. Oh no, but I just collected my check and didn't. So, it's easy for people to take the moral high ground after the fact. But if you knew what was going on, you should have said something. Or if you had such a problem with him, then you should have quit.
Yep.
But now it's easy for everyone to be a tough guy after the fact.
Yeah, and they're, okay.
And just like right now, everyone loves Tony Khan. You know why? Because they're collecting a paycheck from him. Tony's a genius. Tony's a nice guy. Tony's this. Tony's that. What? Mark my words. Watch what happens a few years from now when Chris Jericho is no longer in AEW. You know what he's going to say? Oh, well, Tony wasn't a very strong leader, and oh, Tony didn't put smart people around him, and oh, Tony this, Tony that. Okay. It's just you just have to understand that people are loyal to wherever their paycheck comes from. And there's nothing wrong with that, but let's call a spade here.
Mm-hmm. What's your timestamp at right now?
2 hours and 35 seconds.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, it will be interesting because that's just how wrestling is too. Like, is Jericho going to come back to WWE? Who knows? But I think he's probably fine. Or they have the cruise and he's doing all this other stuff. But it is like some of those wrestlers that left under Vince that now are kind of outside looking in, trying to figure out, okay,
angle slam, it's over.
It was a valiant effort by John Cena, but Cena can't stand. The angle slam has been hit, and now Kurt Angle is in his zone.
He's in his zone in his hometown, and he's feeling victory to go to Mania. He's got the
ankle lock.
Really good match.
Got it locked in. Yep. Yeah. Cena had a lot of offense there, like you said, off the top rope for a second, and now he's kind of trying to drag himself over to the ropes. Yeah, just really good.
It's funny. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that gets said on Twitter is just an echo chamber, but it's like the John Cena can't wrestle thing. I mean, has he ever had like a really bad match?
No.
I mean, is he Shawn Michaels in the ring? No. But he's better in the ring than The Rock was.
Looking.
I mean,
I'm curious.
Cena's had, 25 classics in his career, maybe more. Okay. But 25 like great matches, minimum. And probably never had a horrible match. And if he was, it was against like Great Khali.
Well, here you go. His worst matches ever, according to this is the Sportster, which we pull up from time to time.
Yeah.
He had a 0.75 out of 10 match against John Laurinaitis. That was his worst match ever. You had on Raw, he had a match against Michael Cole. Can't forget his match about Kane. That was at Royal Rumble 2012. The Miz at Over the Limit 2011. Rusev Battleground 2017. That was a 3 out of 10. And Big Show Extreme Rules 2009 as well. So he's had some stinkers in there, but not anything. Like, I don't remember any of those though. I don't care. Like, yeah.
All right, Kurt Angle going for Cena's necklace there with the lock on it. By the way, I think the Cena retirement tour thing is brilliant. I think it's the greatest way ever to go out.
What are you doing?
Oh, God.
He's got a cover. There's the cover. Come on, run. There's one. Come on, run. He's got it. Cena is going to WrestleMania.
Here is your winner,
John Cena.
I mean, huge pop, guy was over. But no, I think the year. I mean, to me, it's the most perfect retirement ever. And not everyone can do it. You have to be a star at that level. But I mean, if you're Hulk Hogan, if you're Ric Flair, if you're Bret Hart, if you're Shawn Michaels, I mean, any of them in a heartbeat would say, look, if I could end my career with a 12-month run, knowing it was a 12-month run, at a time where the business has never been more popular or hotter, and I get to pick who I work with and, develop these just incredible stories, and I go balls to the wall physically because I know it's my last year. I mean, what a perfect ending. It is the perfect ending. And we've talked about this before, Jeff, but very few guys get the perfect ending. And of the ones that get the perfect ending, most of them ruin it. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or they go out wrong. Yeah, whatever it is. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. So
All right, let's get
good one
to
overall.
the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
What'd you think?
That was pretty good. Yeah. Like, and I'm not surprised these two had a great match. Like, that's just what I would expect and nothing less. Yeah.
Really good match. I mean, really, really nice match.
So, kind of what happened here. So you had Kurt Angle. Like I said, this is in the lead up to WrestleMania at this point. Kurt Angle entered into a feud with Shawn Michaels, who's over who is the better wrestler at this point. If you actually begun at Royal Rumble, and then getting into this one when Michaels eliminated Angle, you then had him challenging for the match, kind of back and forth. Really, these guys had quite the year. So you had a ladder match. And what it was is he wanted to prove that he was better than Michaels at everything. And so he won a ladder match at WrestleMania. He challenged Marty Jannetty, got Jannetty to tap out. Of course, we got Sexy Kurt with all of this as well too, interfering with Michaels' matches, and then eventually Angle winning their WrestleMania match by getting Michaels to submit to the ankle lock. The number one contender, which Cena just won, the championship holder at this point was JBL, and so had that match as well too. This was winning it that night, of course, over JBL. So kind of having that was actually the first time he won it. So kind of interesting in that along that point too. He had the U.S. championship as well too. And so, yeah, just weird to think this was Cena's this WrestleMania after this match. And this was the number one contender for him leading to his first championship. Or for the WWE Championship for the first time. So, PWI 2005, Cena was 2, Kurt Angle was number 6. The overall show, it got a thumbs down was 65% of this. Only 8% gave it a thumbs up. No real write-ups or reviews on this one too much. But yeah, just not a great. This was the best match on a very bad show. So, Tom, where are you going to rank this one?
Well, and it just goes to show you those B pay-per-views were just a horrible idea.
Yep, absolutely.
I like this match. I'll give it a 6. Okay. Nothing mind-blowing, but just a really good match. Right length, nonstop action. Right guy won. Crowd popped. Cena's the guy. So yeah, I enjoyed it. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna give it I went back and forth. I'm gonna give it a 7. I think that it was pretty good between these two. Like, what's not to like? Kurt Angle and John Cena. I get the match didn't have. I mean, I say it didn't have a ton of stakes. It was just for the number one contender, but it's also was for the number one contender. So that was pretty good. So, but could have always had a little bit more to it, but still nothing wrong with it. So, but yeah, I thought overall it was just really good, plain and simple. So, yeah. Good stuff. Send them home happy.
Yeah, good run of episodes here. What do we have coming up, by the way?
What do we have? I don't even know here. Let me pull up our list here. So next week
we have a good one coming up next that I was very intrigued by.
Yeah, so it's actually in the debut of NXT, Chris Jericho versus Daniel Bryan. That was the first NXT show ever.
Really?
So we're getting that. Yeah, so that'll be good. And then into March, kind of in our lead up into WrestleMania, I got a bunch of different stuff here. And so we got the Bulldog and Owen Hart
coming up, man.
Yeah, and so we got Bulldog and Owen Hart. I see Randy Savage and Ted DiBiase. That was a Saturday night main event. We're going to cover that. Oddly enough, we're going back to WWE Heat. It was a great match between Mr. Perfect and RVD. Like, who would have thought that? And then, yeah, just a couple of other big. I see a TNA match down the road here eventually. And so, yeah, we'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens. But we got some good stuff lined up. We wouldn't, no bad matches in the lead up to Mania. So it'll be okay.
Perfect. All All right. Well, I'm looking forward to what's coming up. This was fun. As always, we appreciate everyone listening, and we'll see you next week on an all new episode of The Pad.